Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Ha ha! How was my echo on that one? Was that a good echo? Ha ha! Boy, I tell you what, is it going to be a boom week? Is it going to be a boom week tomorrow, or is it going to be a boom day, or is it going to be a couple of booms, several booms? I don't know. It sure sounds like something's getting ready to percolate. So let's see who all's coming in. Tennessee, how you doing? Linda, Jersey Joe, Melinda, Sin, Bubba, how you doing, Bubba? Roy said wagons roll. I left my finger on there. Okay, Roy, you're on the screen. There you are, brother. I saw you come in the other night. Quilt. Let's see. Everybody's coming in. Boy, brighter day. Debbie King. Ronald. So we got Mr. T's going to do a town hall tomorrow night. Ain't that something? After what Fox News said was going to be possible judgment day for the Biden White House in Congress. Boy, aren't the people going to be watching that? Now, you think about this. For those of you who remember when they were trying at the very end, when there was already an assassination attempt on him, Ronald Reagan, before the election, they were calling him Ronald Reagan, as in Buck Rogers Reagan, and all kinds of crazy stuff. But then they just tried to, like Nancy Pelosi said, scar him. Remember her running her claws on her arm, talking about Trump? We scarred him. When we impeached him, we scarred him. So they tried to do the same thing with Reagan on the Iran-Contra affair. And they had those hearings. And I'll never forget opening up that Washington Post, seeing Oliver North, a color photograph, him standing there in full dress uniform, raising his right hand. It was all you saw in the news under one of the most loved, admired, respected presidents of the 20th century. And then you remember even farther back, stupid little comments that today would mean nothing were pages and pages of editorial gibberish in the Washington Post about Richard Nixon, Spiro Agnew. Just on and on it went. Kind of reminds you of seeing Biden falling around, bumbling, gibbering, and nobody says anything. But they get one clip, short clip of Trump trying to go down a wet metal, steep, slippery ramp. He takes the elbow of an officer and goes carefully down the ramp. They play it over and over and over, show after show, and criticize and laugh and carry on. But Biden, he can shake hands with ghosts. He can almost walk off the end of a stage. He can act perverted. He can do whatever he wants. He can lose his vows in front of the Pope. Nobody says anything. So here we got this business coming up tomorrow in Congress. What do you think it's going to be coverage of? You think it's going to be as much coverage as they gave little fat boy Vindman, little Tweedledee and his brother Tweedledummer, and Maria Abramovich? She looked like somebody took a weed eater to her head. That haircut she's got, very much like that woman today who won that judgment, so-called civil case. We got a justice system now where you got a city in turmoil. You got riots in subways because somebody stopped a violent offender, and they're going after Donald Trump because some old bat 30 years ago claims Donald Trump did something to her. Can't remember the day Can't remember the week. Can't remember the month. Can't remember the year. Wait a minute. She can't even remember the decade. But what does she do? She points a crooked, gnarled, bony, withered old finger at the 45th president of the United States, makes a lunatic accusation, and gets a $5 million judgment by a proven judge who was conversing with the jury directly, violating all kinds of protocols, ethics, and I venture the law. And they all go crazy. We finally got him. That's getting appealed, and they ain't gonna pay a dime. Lawfare, live by the sword. That's why they put on my thumbnail. What's the other half of that? Live by the sword. Okay, die by the sword. You want to play Lawfare? Well, let's go. Let's go. Wait a minute. I haven't said anything to anybody in the chat. So I got a rant early, an early rant, and I got more rants left in me. I'm like LT. I washed my brain after watching some of this stuff. You had to take your brain and wash it out, get all that negative garbage out of it, and look at the good points. What's going on? Lights are cutting on everywhere. Even the people, the I don't care people are starting to care. Let's see. Oh, we got a lot of people in tonight. That's good. Hello, Mr. Kibler. How you doing? Hello, Cheryl. Hey, William. Pappy Two Bears. Karen. Lone Wolf. Jersey Joe. I'm trying. If I say somebody's name twice, well, I can't remember if I said hi or not. Hi, Marla. She got 2 cups of coffee. One for me and one for you, right, Marla? I'll tell you, I had me some ginger snaps. I got a new thing now. It's not new, but it's new me telling y'all. I get me some ginger snaps. I get me a cup of coffee, and I take my ginger snaps and dip them in the peanut butter and put it in the coffee, dip it in the coffee. Man, that's good. That gets you fired up for a live stream. Let me tell you. Hi, Wild West. Everybody. Hi, Mary. How are you doing? It's hard for me to remember. Did I say hi? Hi, Mike Martin. How are you? Damon. Mike 1176. Cindy, what's this? Hey, Mountain Man. Boom Week, definitely. Tomorrow, the Biden boys get spanked. And Thursday, Title 42, rush for the border. And then we have Mother's Day, of course, this weekend. Stay home and avoid use zeros with that word, Cindy. SH00TING. Okay, honey? Yeah. They're throwing rocks at border agents down there right now. They're getting ready. You know, I heard that the Department of Homeland Security was tipping them off where not to go, where the border guards are going to be. You know, they're giving them little maps and a little advice on how they can slip on through, get down to the DMV, get that motor voter going. You know, I mean. Got to get that shirt. You know, what is wrong with you on the shirt on the back? What's your problem? Are you stupid? You know, just about 5 different shirts with sayings like that. Are you awake yet? EM says anger. Wanda loves rants. Hi, Paula. How are you? I'll get some pictures, Paula. Don't fret. Don't worry. I'm going to do multiple live streams. You know what? Elon Musk came out with a tweet that they're going to be integrating videos into Twitter. So wouldn't that be something if I could multi-stream on Rumble, here, and Twitter? I got an account. I've had one for years, but I knew not to use it. I knew that thing was infested with 3-letter agency people. that don't have your good or my good in mind. Hi, Finding Dory. How are you doing? And those picture shows, anybody that's done live stream before, it takes you twice as long to prepare those than it does to do the actual live stream. I mean, you can burn 5 hours out of a day getting ready to go live, and then when it doesn't work, man, you get mad. Marla likes ginger snaps and coffee. Try some peanut butter with that, Marla. I'm telling you, it's really good. And I tell you, I got I got like 10 people subscribe to me on Truth Social. I'm on Truth Social. At Mountain Man Says. So, Waken Trillium, how you doing? I put about a half-hour warning up this time. I was able to do that because I knew I'd be going live by 9. And it was close to get there by 9. Hi, Nikki, how you doing? Sharon, how you doing? Oh, I'm just cruising through here, taking a look at things. Yes, Nikki, right off the bat, she says, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and share. Thank you. Rubber toe. I some reason that cracks me up. I don't know why. Hi, Amy. So I tell you what, the one key theme, there's a lot of things on this Lawfare comment that I put up on the screen. Live by the sword, die by the sword. There's one big thing that's really going to come back and bite them on this Lawfare. We know that a lot of these things that are thrown out there are boomerangs that are going to come back and hit them. And there's one I think is going to be a big one. Holy cow, I just got a notice. Wait a second. Okay, Mary. Thank you, Mary Freeland. She hopped in the coffee crowd there, but got me 3 coffees. I appreciate it, Mary. And this is a good time to say this is a viewer-supported and creator-supported broadcast only. I don't get anything from any of these platforms. And I got a link in the description. Anybody that wants to help me, anybody wants to join the coffee crowd, it would surely be appreciated. So anyway, thank you, Mary. And so I'll tell you what's the big one that's going to blow up in their face. There's going to be so many, just like when we were watching a Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote was holding that stick of dynamite or whatever, or Yosemite Sam, and then pow, it goes off and they're sitting there with their head all burned up. All you see is their eyeballs. And, that's going to be happening a lot. Hi, Donna. Brighter day. So that's going to be happening a lot, but there's one big one that's going to blow up. And I'll give you a preview. Let's see if you all get who is going to be what I'm predicting going to be one of the big booms, as in Boomerang and Wile E. Coyote Dynamite go off. I'll give you a hint. Let me pull this latest story up. Did you hear that New York is putting out criminal charges against somebody? They just announced the charges, and the person might have to go to court tomorrow. And let's see if you all guess how this is going to boomerang and who it's going to boomerang on. This is what I'm thinking. Let me find the name of that New York representative. Oh shoot! If I kick myself off, folks, be patient. I'll be right back. Man, I got so much in my background apps or whatever you call it. Hi, Camperman, how you doing? A Google account. Ingrid, how are you? So, I'm trying to see if I got everybody. Brag. Jersey Joe says brag. What? No, it's going to be even bigger boom than that. Let me pull up this article if I can. somebody got charged in New York. Guess that one first. Who got charged in New York and may have to show up tomorrow for a hearing for fraud? This is where they twist and they reach and they scratch and they claw for something to get somebody in trouble over that's going to blow up right in their face. He's a representative. I can't remember his name right offhand, but I know his story. He told everybody he was he said he was Jewish, and he meant that he was, after he got elected, he said, well, I didn't mean Jewish, I meant Jewish-y, kind of Jewish, ish. So, he's kind of tongue-in-cheek. Sidney says, Schumer, no, I didn't hear about it. Schumer got indicted for fraud, or that would be already all over news. You wouldn't be hearing from old Mountain Man. Well, I'll tell you, let me read this. Let me see who all's making. Hi, Sherry. How you doing? I'll just see you give everybody a little chance to make a guess on, see if, first of all, they know who got charged. And this is, I think, the Eastern District of New York, which is, Wanda says she can't think of his name. Let's see. Em said, Carlos. Is that guy's name? Let me pull my article up. George Santos. That was close. That was close. George Santos has been charged. Deborah Taylor said Georgie. And yeah, there we go. Caitlin. That's a nice way to spell your name, Caitlin. God, think for a second. Caitlin got the name right. And what else did he say? He said he claimed he was gay, I think. But maybe he said later, well, I said I was gayish. Kind of like I said I was Jewish. I was just kind of that way, ishy. So then they tacked on some campaign missteps with, probably somebody making a $10 donation and they didn't fill out the right form or something stupid. But anyway, they are charging him criminally, and he's got to be in court sometime this week, maybe tomorrow. He's got to make an appearance. So what is this bomb that's going to go off, this boomerang that's going to come around? They are going by the premise that he defrauded the people by knowingly lying. I mean, what else could they be grasping for besides this little campaign nonsense they're talking about? Something he filled out on a form, he didn't fill in a blank or do something that they consider to be important when it's somebody else. And we all know about Occasional Cortex and Ilhan Omar with their hundreds of thousands of dollars, so in some cases millions of dollars going to family members. Nobody bats an eye. But so they're saying he misrepresented himself and defrauded the people. Defrauded the people. And I'm going to tell you how I think it's going to blow up in their face, and it's going to hit somebody big. What they usually call a big fish. Oh, I got another notice. Wanda. Thank you, Wanda. Wanda stepped in and bought me 5 coffees. I appreciate it, Wanda. Yeah, ever since I got an exile on Rumble, I had a couple people help me out on Rumble, but it's been the coffee pot's been rather dry. I appreciate it, Wanda, very much. Thank you. And let me go on with this thread and see, maybe Wanda will get the answer who I think is going to get blown up in this boomerang It's a boomerang with a stick of dynamite on it, and it's whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. They just threw it, and whoosh, whoosh. I don't know how long it's going to take, but if they do this and make it stick that he knowingly lied and defrauded his constituents, there's so many of them, but who is it going to hit? That's a big fish. Big fish. It's going to, at the very least, call attention to them. Wanda says Malcolm Smith, state senator charged with corruption, along with 5 politicians, David Rivera from Florida, arrested as a foreign agent. Oh yeah, there's stuff popping out. A Google account says struck. No. Awakened Trillium said big fish is in McConnell. No, I'm talking about somebody who won their office on a lie, or they were aiding and abetting. See, now lawfare, you got to think of ways to stretch it out so you can claw in as many people as you can in these accusations and finger pointing. So you've got, he lied about being gay, he lied about being Jewishy, and whatever nonsense they had. And it turned out he knew he wasn't Jewish. He knew he wasn't gay. And he was just lying to the people to get in. But there's so many of them that lied. And so many of them we know about it. FISA frauds. Google account asks. Well, I will tell you, HRC, there's so many. Let me give you another hint. George W. Bush put forth the Defense of Marriage Act. Remember that? What was the hallmark of the Defense of Marriage Act? That marriage, in the eyes of the federal government, was between a man and a woman. And they put that to codify it as law. Ian said Elizabeth Warren, that's a good guess. Debbie said Billy Boy. Elizabeth Warren, yeah, when she was lying about her. Now she's got a little peg she could hang her hat on, or whatever, her broom handle or whatever, where she could say, well, I honestly thought, and plus I came clean, and then I got elected after I came clean and was honest about it. So she got a little get out of jail free on that. Anthony Weiner, no, he didn't run for office. But he did aid and abet. Well, I'll tell you what. Cheryl said, oh, bummer. Ha, ha, ha. Both of them, Cheryl. Since it said Liz Cheney. Yeah, remember who ran the second time they ran? They swore up and down. They told the American people that they fully supported the Defense of Marriage Act. And what do a lot of people feel is one of the biggest frauds that had ever been perpetrated? What have we seen? I play that little video of Joan Rivers. Forget it. She said, forget it. We've already had the first transgender in office. Michelle Obama. Everyone knows Michelle's a transgender. We've already had the first gay president after they got reelected. The second time, telling everybody they supported the Defense of Marriage Act. And if that's what Joan Rivers was saying is true, they violated it even before they got in the first time. They defrauded the American people, acted like a legally married couple. Oh, but it's okay though, isn't it? It's okay because you can be whatever you say, right? Like Brittany Griner. You can be married to a woman. You can claim you're a woman. You can get paid 6 figures by dominating a sport of predominantly biological females. You can defraud the fans, defraud the country, make six figures that you would never be able to make any other way, still get all the benefits of a heterosexual man by being married to a woman, and just defraud the people. Because why? Because it's politically correct, because people say it's okay. People claim Jesus would have said it was okay. God. Now you have this, like these, a Catholic church, not the Catholic church, a Catholic church. Where was it? New York? Saying God is transgender. Oh, God will not be mocked. God will not be mocked. And that's what they're doing. That is sacrilege. Okay. And like my friend on Truth and Arts TV said, Bernie, don't be surprised if a city goes down. God's been known to do that. It doesn't have to be nations. It doesn't have to be a flood of the whole world. It could be just a city. So we've got that going on, but this business of this out and out blatant lie, this parody. That's what the French president, I don't think it was Macron, but he said, and he was excoriated for it about 10 years ago. He said gay marriage would be a parody of marriage. And that's what it is. But we have so many people that are trying to live this parody in a serious manner for us to take them seriously. Who was the Australian actor that he dressed up as a woman? He called himself Dame Edna. It was a performance. It wasn't anything remotely S3-actual about it. It was for mockery. He mocked the royals. He used this persona of a dame, of a highfalutin older woman to throw barbs at people. And then he would dress as himself, a distinguished looking older gentleman, and do a split screen where he'd be dressed in drag and criticizing himself, and back and forth he'd go. That was comedy. Never for a minute did he act like he was actually a woman. So yeah, it can be performance art for adult performance and still tied in with reality. And he just recently passed away, I think only last week. So let's see. Yeah, if YouTube quit messing with the channel, that's right. Wild West. Yeah, I was off for 2 weeks, Nikki. 2 weeks. That's why I went to Rumble. It was supposed to be for 1 week, and they took me down for 2 and I never found out why. I kept asking, how come my week has been up? That's right. Robin Williams and Miss Doubtfire was comedy. That's right, Tennessee. Flip Wilson, that's right. And what did he always say? The devil made me do it. And that, I was trying to think, how could I employ that old Flip Wilson thing into today's commentary. You don't hear anything more out of Flip Wilson. You don't hear any memories of him. Same with Jamie Farr, who was Klinger and MASH. And I heard that he took a bad turn for the worse with his health last week. So let's all hope for the best for Jamie Farr. I hope he's still with us. But anyway, because they say a lot of people are trying to predict the game plan with the Bidens. And I brought up many broadcasts ago that I remember very distinctly Joe Biden telling his opponents in the primaries, I will be a one-term president. I will be a transitional president. He told that to Kamala Harris, well, along with a lineup on stage of half a dozen other Democrats. He said, I want to remind you all, I'm only going to be there for one term. I will be a transitional president. So he knew during the debates, before he quote won the nomination, that he was only going to be in one term. So this has already been gamed out. It's already been gamed out, not by Biden himself, of course, but by all the other clowns involved. Okay, this is a show, and the more I thought about it, like I said last night, it's not just a show that's been put up by the Patriots, by the white and any other words hats. I think they found the script. They know the script. They've said before, we know your game plan. They've said that in the past, but I think they found the script to this show. And that's what we're doing. We're watching their show, their masquerade. And so this business of Biden being a one-term president was way before he even got the nomination. That's already been gamed out. Now they're saying if Hunter gets indicted, which they've been putting out since before Brian Stelter got fired, that his arrest was imminent. They've been saying Joe Biden will pardon his son. So that is what they're prepping the public for with this business. I love my son. He's the brightest star in my life, and all this kind of stuff. Now we're finding out about the details in the laptop, that we're dealing with serious criminal activity. We're dealing with serious national security issues at the highest levels of the federal government. And that's what's going to be coming out tomorrow, with 1/100th of the coverage of Oliver North, a colonel, even though he's more important than little fat boy Vindman, who was a lieutenant colonel. Oliver North was a full bird colonel, but still, they gave it all the attention in the world back in the day to smear Reagan before he went out. What are they going to do with this? Are they going to put the whistleblower forth? Are we gonna see the whistleblower? But there is some pretty serious statements coming from Congress about how serious this is going to be. Now, before I talk more about that, that's going to happen tomorrow. That's going to happen tomorrow. What happened today? What happened today that everybody supposedly is going to be talking about tomorrow? I guess they think it's going to overshadow what's going to happen with Comer tomorrow in Congress. This business of the Trump civil suit, the civil lawsuit. And DJT he blew up Truth Social. And like I say, I guess I can say it now because they're running ads on YouTube. But prior to that announcement, Trump made a comment about CNN, the town hall he's going to do tomorrow. So we got the hearings in Congress. And then that night, we've got Donald J. Trump. And today, hours before the hearings and the town hall, we get this verdict, so-called verdict. But anyway, Trump said, I'll be doing CNN tomorrow night live from the great state of New Hampshire because they are rightfully desperate to get those fantastic Trump ratings once again. And that reminds me of when Ted Koppel told Brian Stelter, you would be lost without Donald Trump. You would have nothing without Donald Trump. I'll play that video sometime in the future. But anyway, they wanted those great ratings again, fantastic ratings. They made me a deal I couldn't refuse. Could it be the beginning of a new and vibrant CNN? No more fake news? Or could it turn into disaster for all, including me? Let's see what happens. Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Okay, folks, you know, tomorrow night I can't be broadcasting. I got to watch Mr. T on Town Hall, just like everybody else. What do y'all think about a late broadcast tomorrow night? Wild West says a potato's son will be charged tomorrow by 10:30. Yo, you think so? You must have an inside scoop. So, yeah, $5 million. Oh, she didn't get awarded. It's going to be appealed. She's not going to get a dirty dime. That is going to blow up in her face. MES, I'm so tired of the corruption, but I know it's only going to get worse. But holy, okay, yeah, you're right. It's only going to get worse. A CNN sting. Wicked Dream says it's a CNN sting operation. You think they're going to trip up Trump? Don't forget. Donald Trump is a genius. And I'm not saying that tongue in cheek, and I'm not saying it as a fanboy. I'm saying it as a rational person who's watched his career for 30 plus years. That man is a genius. He is the definition of a genius. And it'll be a cold day when they can trip up DJT. And if they do, or if it seems like they do, there's a purpose behind it. Twin Tower Taco, I'm about to walk away from all this. Where are you going to go, Twin? South of the border. I mean, where there's nowhere else to go. America falls, the world falls. If freedom was easy, everybody would have it, right? You got to stick with us, and we'll stick with you. I've said that before when I've done extended live streams. You all stick with me, I'll stick with you. So that's the way you got to look at it. It's your country, man. It's civilization. It's civilization. Back in a minute, Cameron Brand said, we'll be here. Ha ha. Let's see. Yes, late and picture show, Wanda says. Do a late picture show. What if I go on that other site tomorrow? RUMBLE, huh? That woman isn't pretty, Nancy, he said. Oh my gosh. Yeah, she needs that surgery. I tell you what, like Dad used to have a joke about that. I won't say it's a little off color. So, but the old joke is only a face only a blind mother could love on payday. I'll stick with that one. Hi, Robin. How you doing? Twin Tower says going off grid. Well, they won't be an off grid. You weren't around for my rant. A lot of you might not have been around for my Tim Pool rant. I did a rant about Tim Pool about half a year ago. He said, if things keep going the way they're going, I'm going to hang up everything and go in my van down by the river. And I sent him a message and I said, there ain't going to be a van down by the river. They're not going to let you have a van down by the river. And Twin, I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just trying to make a point. And I want you to understand why we have to stay in this fight. And last night I talked about how we have to keep a good attitude and not let them invade the sacred nature of our mind and our spirits, you know, with their shenanigans and their body shows. That's all they are, is evil human beings playing a role. They're nothing. They're nothing. And we're getting ready to take them down. But I encourage everybody, including Tim Pool, to watch the movie Dr. Zhivago. Dr. Zhivago. They tracked down, the communists tracked down, the Reds tracked down the whites. They were the Reds and the whites after the Bolshevik Revolution. They tracked them down through the frozen wastelands of Siberia. They would not let them rest. They destroyed villages. If you didn't agree with them totally 100%, you weren't allowed to go off and be on your own. You weren't allowed to exist. So there won't be an off-grid. It'll be just like the movie, more in a modern sense, more like the scene from Lord of the Rings, okay? Everybody's seen that movie or knows somebody that's seen it, where Pippin says to Merry, they think they've lost. Treebeard's taking them somewhere they don't want to go. Or I don't remember the exact part of the scene, but Pippin says, well, Merry, at least we've got the Shire. And Merry looked at him with a serious look on his face and said, you don't understand. There's not going to be a Shire. That's what this is about. This battle is about, this final battle. There won't be a van down by the river. There won't be enough frozen tundra for you to run across, and there won't be a Shire anymore. This is the game. This is for all the marbles. Just like I reported in Brazil. They couldn't even take that election, win, and live with it. They still got to attack Bolsonaro. They still had to raid his home, just like they raided Trump's Mar-a-Lago. And now that's not good enough for them. They got to put out edicts and go before their version of Congress and demand that he turn over his child, 12-year-old child, to get that shot in the arm. So they know they don't give any peace. They can't survive if people of goodwill survive. And if we don't stand up and stand against them, they'll run over top of us. They'll eat your lunch, your dinner, your breakfast. So I went on another rant. Let me see. Anybody new that's come in, I say hi to you. If I hadn't called anybody's name. Hi, Deborah. Deborah said, yes, okay. We're getting married. Did I? No, I'm just. Reba, let's see. Miss Minder Sue, all AI humans. Oh, Deborah, you must not have been around for my rant on AI. I will touch on that. You guys remember when computers were first coming out, and many of you have heard me talk about this, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But let the other ones that haven't heard it kind of cogitate on what I'm going to say. Remember, they had the Commodore 64 computers. And I mean, this is the time when Ross Perot, that's how he made his billions. He developed a computer system for Medicaid and Medicare billing. And don't you know, with that automated billing system, that our healthcare costs skyrocketed into the millions. And I thought about it. People from my parents' generation, okay? Just about everyone I know does not get off this earth without racking up medical bills in the millions. Now, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, maybe they spent $20 on a doctor for a house call or bought a bottle of aspirin. Of course, they ate real food. They didn't get told that eggs were rotten for them, terrible, would kill them, got talked into eating oil that's been created, even though it's corn oil, it's been fired and treated and created through some kind of man-made process into something human beings have never had to digest before. Now but we're told it's good for us. But prior to our parents' generation, people didn't run up millions of dollars in electric bills. I mean, yeah, electric bills, well, that's coming too. But hospital bills and doctors' bills, you think about it. Think about it. And so that means that if you don't belong to their system, you don't join their system, and you get sick even for something small, you're bankrupt. Whereas back in the day, I went in and I still got a scar on my hand where I cut the back of my hand very badly on a piece of glass. And I went to the doctor's office and he cauterized it shut. It's about a 3-inch scar that would have took about probably 8 stitches. It was $30. He charged me $30. It hurt like hell, but that was the end of it. You know what that cost me today? That would cost me today. So anyway, AI. So that's what started me on that rant. But AI, I'm talking about Ross Perot changing the medical system. That started the ball rolling. Then you had Steve Jobs, and who's the guy from Apple? I forget his name. And then you had Bill Gates with Microsoft. All four of them. You check it out. Guess where they came from? IBM, International Business Machines. That's where they all cut their teeth. That's where they all got their start. And as far as I know, IBM never went after any of them for cutting loose from that company and taking company secrets or development things they learned from that company, taking it to their own company. So that's another bailiwick to get into. But when we started with this Commodore computers and this infancy of computers with Ross Perot and all these early starts, these big old clunky TV monitors and stuff. When we went to school, what was the thing they taught us about computers? 4 letters. And this has to do with AI. GIGO. And I'll give people who didn't hear my last rant on this, give a few minutes for them to think about what does that mean and how long has it been since we've heard that. I don't even think they teach that in school anymore now, because it helped people to think critically and not be intimidated or overwhelmed by this new computer age. Of course, when I had a calculator, it was the size of a brick. It was a different world. I saw somebody mention Dr. Zhivago. Yeah, that's right. That's a good movie to watch. GIGO, folks. For those of you who don't know or didn't hear my last rant on that, and you got to jump on others. What's GIGO? Hi, Gary. How you doing? Never eats the bugs, Karen said. GIGO, and it applies to AI. Gary said Steve Jobs. That's right. And then who's the one that there's Ross Perot, Steve Jobs. What's that one I just said? Bill Gates, and there was somebody else involved with Apple. I can't remember the guy's name, but anyway, all 4 of them went to IBM. They won't be able to walk down the street. You got that right. Okay, I'm not seeing it. Yeah, no, GIGO, Richard. GIGO. That's what they were teaching in schools when they were introducing young people to the computer age. Okay, when I went to school, you get your knuckles cracked if you brought in a calculator. Wozniak, David says. What that? Jersey Joe says. GIGO. That's what everybody was taught when they started teaching about computers. And how you can is Debbie still with me? She's the one who brought up AI humans. And in a way, it has a lot to do with how we raise our young. Prototype 1985 says, before I remember everyone's phone, now I don't. I almost got into that where I couldn't remember people's numbers, but I stopped that when I ended up in a situation where I didn't have my phone, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I can't even call." After that, I remembered the numbers just like I used to back in the day. I got out of that. Deborah said, "What about John Henry?" John Henry was a steel driving man. That John Henry? Remember that song? Who was that? Tennessee Ernie Ford used to sing that. GIGO means garbage in, garbage out. That's the first law of computer programming. That is what I was taught, was the first law of computer programming. Garbage in, garbage out. Because a computer is nothing but a set of binary numbers, and it can only parrot and reproduce, spit out whatever somebody stuffed in. It cannot think independently. It never will be able to think independently. Just like I went on another rant about that Canadian guy who was listening to AI, and the AI convinced him to commit you-know-what-aside to help prevent global warming. And I said that if he'd been using his God-given gift of logic and reason inside his skull, his God-given brain, he would have laughed at that computer. I said I would have thrown it out in the yard. There would have been pieces of glass or maybe just a screen if the window was open. I'd just thrown it out the window and I'd have gone to sleep. And when he gave that thing another thought, it's a different form of a puppet. Just because it's shaped like a TV screen, you can imagine somebody's hand going up the back and the fingers making the mouth open and close, and it's a puppet doing what somebody tells it to do. Deborah says it's artificial. That's right. And you reminded me, Deborah, I was going to do a video where I called it AS. Okay? No, not Adam Shifty Schiff. AS. That's what it is. That's what the guy in Canada fell prey to. What did he fall prey to? Artificial stupidity. And whoever's programming that AI, if they're stupid, that computer's going to be stupid. And we're going to see a lot of brains breaking brains. People that won't accept the fact that they're responsible for their thoughts. They ultimately are responsible to utilize and manage their brains the way God intended. And those that will not accept the authority of God, respect God, who, as we all know, is a jealous God. He does not put up, he gets jealous and angry if you try to attribute the gifts he created and gave you to someone or something else. He gets very jealous and angry. So the people that will not glorify God, will not submit to God, and accept the fact that they have what they were given by God, they're going to drive themselves crazy. Their brains will break. Just like that woman that screamed for 1 minute, "I hate you." What's that sound computers make? When something goes wrong, they go dong, dong, ding, dong, dong, ding. I was going to get a real loud boom. You know, whatever sound a computer makes when something goes wrong. I was going to get a real loud recording of that and play it over top while she's screaming, because that's what's going on. Her brain is shorting out. It's overloading because it can't function properly, because she won't accept the fact that she has to use her reason and logic. Because if she does use her reason and logic, all these precepts will fall to the ground, fall to dust. So they can't accept reason and logic. They have to try to justify insanity, and it's going to cause their brains to break. And I think what's going on, I put in RFK is knocking on my thumbnail. He was on a show, and he said that the C.I.A. was involved in the death of his uncle. He did that just recently. He's bringing truths, and he is a Democrat version of Donald Trump, somebody that's coming in to the party. I mean the political party, showing up to the political party and saying the things that need to be said and others too scared to say, and that the people who feel they're on the outside looking in are hungry and want to hear. Just like we were hungry and wanted to hear what Donald Trump had to say in 2016 when he said, "We don't have time for political correctness." People sat up in their chairs in the Republican end of the party because we've been dominated by these rhinos, these milquetoasts, these warmongers like John McStain, like Mitt Romney, same suit, different bow tie. George Bush, they're all cookie cutouts of each other. Feigning conservatism. On the other side, on the Democrat side, you've got normal people who voted for, or had parents that voted for JFK and Hubert Humphrey and Mo Udall, and people that were upstanding members of the Democrat Party that were Americans with just a different point of view. Not these anti-American radicals. And you still got people like that in the party. These people today in the Democrat Party that feel like they don't have a home would have been Reagan Democrats when Reagan took 49 out of 50 states. Historic landslide. They're there now. And here comes RFK. That's why they're not going to host any debates. That's why they're just going to try to hand this nomination. Well, it may not be Biden. They got to hand it over to somebody else. But RFK is knocking. And what's the saying that Elon Musk paraphrased? One of the greatest powers that media has is the power to ignore. To ignore. They think you're going to dry up and blow away. That's what they think is going to happen to RFK. Well, now you see the method of Rupert Rupert Murdoch's madness, in my opinion. I know Trump has put out statements that hit Rupert Murdoch very hard, but it takes good actors to make a good movie. But Rupert Murdoch is spinning off these very valuable, very effective communicators, people who have a fan base, like Tucker Carlson. Earlier, Megyn Kelly, we were all shocked at that. But now, what's she doing? Was it Brett Favre that replayed the clip I was talking about last night? I said I saw Megyn Kelly do a clip about women's rights. I talked about it the night before last. And I said, used to be, it was okay to talk about women's rights. Now you can't. And I said, Megyn Kelly came out so rough and she came out swinging haymakers that I felt like I couldn't play her clip on YouTube. I'd get in trouble. That's how strong she came out. Well, Brett Favre, I think it was, retweeted that same clip yesterday that I was talking about the day before. And he also called for a boycott of Fox News if they don't let Tucker speak. Well, Tucker came out today and said he's going to go on Twitter and start doing his show on Twitter. And then Elon Musk said he's going to start doing videos and teleconferencing calls. If they can do it on Meta, formerly Facebook, if you can have all that stuff, why in the heck can't you have it on Twitter? So the whole media enterprise is going to blossom into choices where MSNBC, CNN, started by Ted Turner, who was rumored to be the one who paid for the Georgia Guidestones. But anyway, this is all going to blossom into many choices of where to get your news, and they're going to lose their grip. They're going to lose the narrative, and they can't afford to lose the narrative. But that's just the point. They're going to, whether they can afford it or not. So, hey, the serpent's head is already crushed. As far as I'm concerned, it's still wiggling. It hadn't died yet. But we've got to go through some tough times, folks. We got to go through some tough times. Let's see, Reba said the post he made, Wild West Catholic Church worship Mary Mother. Catholics. Reba, I told you I'm a Catholic. You can't paint with a broad brush. And I will tell the story, Reba, and I want you to listen whenever I do. I'm going to tell a story about Mary, okay? We don't worship Mary. We respect Mary. We honor Mary. Mary is a symbol of motherhood. She was God's chosen one. She was the first one born without original sin. So be careful when we talk about Muslim religion, Jewish religion, Catholics, anybody like that, because there are good people all over this world. Oh, yes, warm to removed. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Reba. Forgive me. The dude says Trump is screwed after today. Oh, boy. He just gets more energized when they pull these little clownish stunts on him, the dude. Oh, wait a minute. I got a message up here. Someone. Holy cow, I know who someone is. Gary, did you buy me all those coffees? Or did you want to be anonymous, or whoever it was? I'm sorry. Maybe I spoke wrong. I'm sorry. Some people put someone, and sometimes they want to be anonymous. But I didn't even think before I said that. But anyway, my gosh, I've got to send you a direct message on buy me a coffee. Tell you a few things. But where was I? I was talking to the dude. Dude says Trump is screwed. Oh, he just gets stronger. He gets stronger. People love standing up for an underdog. When the American people see somebody getting treated unfairly, that gets under their skin more than anything else, because they know when they're going to work every day that they're the underdog, that they're getting screwed over, and that they can't do anything about it. And Trump has plucked a chord in people. Okay, Gary, I see your explosions. Okay. Has plucked a chord in people. And he said, I will take these slings and arrows for you, gladly for you. I'm going way over my hour, and I don't care, because some of these things have to be talked about. And where's the dude? The dude says, I agree. No, it's more PR for him, good or bad. It's not PR. It's exposing. It's exposing the crooked manner in which the way the justice system is being used to influence our politics to a criminal degree. It's laying it out there for the world to see. You have an operative, this old fame-seeking old broad, claiming something. As I said, you weren't here earlier in my broadcast. She couldn't say the day, she couldn't say the hour, she couldn't say the week, she couldn't say the month, she couldn't say the year, she could not even say the decade. So what kind of justice system can operate when someone can come 30 years later, accuse you of something, and get awarded $5 million? And now here's a mental exercise for some of my more mature listeners who were involved in politics during the Clinton era. Who was an important senator that got kicked to the curb because of 20-some-year-old accusations that he didn't even know who the person was? And it gave the Clinton upper hand in the Senate in the 1990s. This was the first time there was lawfare used over a woman's accusations to remove a sitting senator. And I'll give you guys a few minutes to answer that, and I'm going to look at some of the chats. If you all remember, to make sure I can remember his name. Yeah, I remember it. That's right, Prototype Type 85. They all love Trump. They all loved Trump back in the day. They still do. A lot of young rappers, and look at all politicians of color, as they say, that are with Trump now. They are misrepresenting the black community a lot by saying that they're not with Trump, and the same with a lot of minorities. And then you have to throw in there the question that is very serious, that everybody should take seriously. How much of a minority would people be if it wasn't for the culture of death that John Paul talked about? If it wasn't for the promotion of Planned Parenthood and the financing of Planned Parenthood in inner cities? That's a touchy subject that I don't want to get myself in trouble on, but it needs to be said. That's right, Robin. Prayer's power. I don't see any guesses, but I'll tell you, do any of you all remember Bob Packwood? He was the first one over an allegation that was over 20 years old. He did not even recognize the person that was making the complaint about him. And they ran him out of office, Bob Packwood. And it was about 2 years later, he came right back and bit Bill Clinton in the backside with Monica Lewinsky. Remember that, folks? Michigan Lifestyle said, I'll be right back. I'm going outside to watch helicopters. No, they're over my house, Michigan Lifestyle. Dude said nope, and he said nope again. I don't know what you're saying nope to. I'm trying to keep up with the conversation. Deborah says it's to divide and conquer the races. That's exactly right. One of the oldest rules of law. War. People talk about Sun Tzu. Yeah, that's a marvelous book, and it's quite insightful. But one of the oldest laws of war is the Roman. Who said that? Caesar Augustus. Divide and conquer 2,000 years ago. So that's what they do. United we stand. It's just that simple, no matter what, race, creed, color, religion. And one of my best friends, I tell you, helped me with my parents. He was a wonderful, wonderful person. He was Muslim. And he used to tell me, I'm just a grain of sand on the beach. I'm just a grain of sand on the beach. And we discuss religion not in a combative way or anything, but in a way of seeking mutual understanding. And there are so many things we share, like abortion is forbidden in the Muslim faith. This 9/11 thing. Now that we're finding out, okay, it wasn't the people we think, right? But what did it do? It permanently, in a lot of people's minds, divided the faiths. Even Saddam Hussein, the one they called Baghdad Bob, remember him? They were making fun of him. He said, I'll protect you, I'll protect you. And why was he saying that? There were a bunch of tanks pulling up in the square behind his back. Baghdad Bob was a Christian. Even Saddam Hussein had Christians in his cabinet and in his administration, even though that was a Muslim country. The Prophet Muhammad said his daughter, Fatima, was the most holy of all women next to Mary. I'll get into that discussion some other time. We had good talks about that, and he was a good man, and he was a caring person, and I miss him dearly. So I never get involved in generalizing any faith. Deborah's right. And Abraham Lincoln. Oh, that's right. You reminded me. I put in my thumbnail another quote from Abraham Lincoln, which is the mystic chords of memory. That's from Abraham Lincoln. In his final inaugural, just prior to his assassination, he said, we have to rely on our shared mystic chords of memory. And I put that right after I mentioned RFK comes knocking. He's knocking, and he's saying, they killed my uncle. Okay? The next thing he's going to be saying is what they did to his father. Then you're going to have DJT talking about 911. These are all the mystic chords of memory that we all share. Terrible, tragic things. When they find out which 3-letter agency was involved in MLK. Remember MLK? Okay. Pope John Paul being shot. All these people, it always comes out like with the one that just happened at the mall. And then the one who ran over people, they all had therapists. They all had mental problems. And how if that gets tied back to three-letter agencies, all these horrible events and everything that I just mentioned, it's going to play the mystic chords of memories. A quote from Abraham Lincoln, just like his quote Deborah mentioned, a house divided cannot stand. Let me see. So I really don't like it when I forget something on my thumbnail and then I finish a broadcast. So I'm glad I got to say that. What is, and B-Dog said yes, SEAL Team 6. There's going to be some uncomfortable truths, but we're going to rally together and we're going to have common causes. And what is going to be the icing? What is going to be the real ties that bind? All the things I mentioned, JFK, RFK, MLK, 911, what we just talked about with Benghazi, what we talked about these malls, these schools, all these things are going to unite us. But what is really going to pull us together is the children. When we find out what's going on and what has been going on, and we're finding out more and more every day, and we're finding out that this business that's going on at the border is an ongoing human trafficking operation. And then we're going to find out details, not too many, but enough for people to get the gist and get the point. And unfortunately, we've got a segment of our society that is reprobate in their thinking. There's no good to draw out of them. When they don't care about themselves, they don't care about their own salvation, they don't care about their own responsibility, and they have children, then you know they're not going to care about any responsibility to that child if they cannot be concerned or responsible for themselves. So there is going to be a heartbreaking, we're going to witness a lot of brain breaks like that one screaming their head off. And we're going to, there's only so much we can do. We can try to help where we can. Maybe there'll be some cases where demons could actually be exorcised, like what happened with Christ, sending the demons into the pigs. I don't know, but I know that there are people that are cold. Their hearts are hardened like Pharaoh's. And he's never thought out, never. There will be people like in the days of Noah. And we're going to witness their, either they're going to convert, they're going to, what's the definition of repent? Is to look at things differently, repent. It doesn't mean fall down and come to God. It says repent means to rethink, to use that wonderful mind God has given us. And to tie it in with the fact that it is a sacred gift. And when people start doing that, and then they look at that child who was born perfect, you love your children, you don't tell them there's something wrong with them and they need to be operated on or they need to be taking medicine, they need to alter themselves because you are a flawed little boy, you're a flawed little girl. We got to take you to the doctor because you're sick, because you're supposed to be different. When we get that into people's heads, that is abusive, that is disrespectful of God's plan, and people start to have a sense of deserved shame on them, and they feel shame when they're at the point where they can feel no more shame. They're very close, if not totally at the point of being reprobate. So let's hope that that's not the case for our friends and loved ones. And the torch, we got our torches lit. And if you see somebody in the dark holding a torch, if you can touch your torch to their torch. But if you come up to somebody and they're staring at you with their fists balled up, their torches thrown down on the ground at their feet, they don't want to see the light, keep walking, keep walking. Take your light with you then. Leave them in the dark. They got to pick up their own torch, and they've got to ask for somebody, please help me light my torch, please. That's where we got to get people. That's the type of thing we got to get to. So I'm going to read some of these comments. Again, I had all these news stories, and I went on with whatever is streaming out of my gourd. My microphone went muffled, distant, and it came back to normal volume. Oh, sorry about that. Thanks, Lone Wolf. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking too loud and it automatically muffles me. I get loud sometimes. So anyway, I had these stories I wanted to go over. But like I said, I go on these rants. But I tell you, this business of Trump, this verdict against Trump today, we got more rhinos coming out in the Senate, coming out against Trump. They're showing their colors. So if you got any doubts about who you're supposed to support, here's two of them now that are so full of baloney. John Thune said, people are going to have to decide whether they want to deal with all the drama about Trump. And then John Cornyn, I don't think he can get elected. My goodness. There, I got tossed on my screen for a second. So anyway, there's two we know we need to get rid of, Cornyn and Thune. Everyone be careful, go to malls and supermarkets. That's right. Okay, yeah, I'm reading what Gary's saying. Lions' mouths were shut when David was set into the den. God has us never forget that. Give your life to him, and he will protect you in all things evil. Yea, thou walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. So anyway, the news story said Trump found not liable of RAPE, but liable, quote, of battery in E. Jean Carroll case in a highly anticipated verdict. He was found liable in the civil suit. And I want to read, I'll close out with Rosie Memos put up a little thread on Twitter. I won't close with this. I got to find something that Elon Musk said I want you all to listen to before we leave. Yeah, I saw that, Gary. I said mouth instead of mouse. I figured that. But here's one. Then I'll get to Elon Musk. Rosie Memo said, a civil court, ? Give me a break. There's not even enough evidence to press actual criminal charges. Laughy face. Well, then this person, Cat and she's at Cat Ander 5, said there was no criminal case because the statute of limitations had run. Internet Perry Mason. So she's making fun of Rosie Memos. calling her internet Perry Mason, and then says the recently passed New York survivor's law allows her to sue your king for battery in a civil trial. So she's mocking Trump, saying, and Rosie Memos. And Rosie Memos comes back and says, incorrect. There is no statute of limitations for RAP in New York. Thank you for handing me my Perry Mason moment on a silver platter. And then a little kissy face. And then you have Geraldo Rivera, who I think ought to be run. They're going to get rid of anybody on Fox News. It's got to be Geraldo. We're giving him enough chances. But he comes out and says, it is so parochial and partisan to suggest that a finding of S3 actual battery is nothing. This is not nothing. So he's showing his colors again with a bunch of idiotic nonsense. And then Andy McCarthy came out and said, I don't think this is a case where he's going to be able to say that everybody had it in for him. It looks to me like this jury looked into this pretty carefully and came to a reasonable conclusion. So Andy McCarthy is another one that hadn't got any brains in his head. Just names to remember for the future. Bobby Kennedy tells Hannity, C.A.I.K.I.L.L.E.D. my Uncle Jack. So he told that to Sean Hannity, millions of people listening, and that ain't going anywhere. Video and voice calling coming to Twitter. So yeah, that might be a simulcast from here. What do you think I ought to do while I'm looking for this Elon Musk comment? Do you think I ought to do a late night show tomorrow? Broadcast. I like calling them broadcasts. I don't do shows. I broadcast my voice. So I don't know. Trump is going on the town hall at 8 o'clock. We're going to be hearing the congressional stuff during the day, and then Trump's town hall at 8. So maybe I can get up by 9. And Wanda, I'm sorry, doing a picture show is a different platform, a different streaming platform, and I'm going to have to be processing so much information. It might not be the time for memes and jokes and stuff. I mean, we want to get a handle on what's going on, right? If you're still with me, Juan, I hope you are. Gary said Perry Mason would have had the case thrown out. That's exactly right. Well, I don't know. With this psychotic jury, a bunch of New York lunatics. Nephew's coming back with a vengeance. I hope so. I mean, I hope he has a quiet fury. I used that term in the past. I hope he comes with a quiet fury. He deserves the right to voice a quiet fury, that the people feel what they did to our president and what they would do to this president if they could. That's the evil we're dealing with. And that's what people need to see in this country who are going out with their daily lives. And you watch Mark Dice do the man on the street. I bet if he walked up to somebody and say, can you tell me what these letters stand for? J, okay, F, and then the third one is K. I wonder how many would get it. Really think about it. They're that stupid. You know, it's funny enough or bad enough when they go, when was the war 1812 fought? And they go, I don't know, you know, was that Civil War? You know, that's bad enough. Feds investigating whether Texas mall mass shooter Mauricio Garcia expressed interest in who? White Sue, and then the other part of that is primacy. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Where is that Elon Musk business? Oh, they just passed a $1.2 billion aid bill. Did y'all hear about that? $1.2 billion aid to Ukraine? A new one. Isn't that great? Just one thing about Clandestine put out something on AI, since we were talking about that earlier. And another good point included to the one that I made about garbage in, garbage out. By the time normal people or average people got their hands on new technology, the technology existed long beforehand and was already weaponized by nefarious entities. In other words, a lot of the FB, okay, Twitter, all that stuff. To what extent does AI shape public perception in social media? Did weaponized AI interfere in federal you-know-whats? That's a good question. It was weaponized. And then it says here, I'm seeing an increasingly larger sense of general awareness, but also a sense of indifference. The American people are tired. We all know something is wrong, but few expect justice after being let down for so long. Most are in the wake me up when someone gets arrested boat. And that's not a off the mark statement. A lot of people feel that way. Wake me up when somebody gets arrested. Ah, gosh, I hope I'm not keeping y'all up too late. Let me get to that. Let me get to that business about Elon Musk. Oh, I got updates on Ukraine. I have to cover that some other time. Got a couple more American mercenaries. I got their names, and I think their families have been notified that have gone to the other side. Oh, well. Anyway, I guess I got so many stories. What Elon Musk basically said was that he's looking forward to the platform being unlike the current media, which is totally biased and slanted, to being a true open platform, and for people to come in as much as possible, say as much lawful speech as possible, and that he wants the left to also be involved in Twitter, not to leave Twitter, but to be engaged, so that we can all learn and not have our minds, our brains run by this slanted media. Well, I'll mention this Kerry Lake tweet. There are 700,000 illegal immigrants waiting along our southern border for Title 42 to expire. That's a foreign population larger than that of Boston, Massachusetts. Where are we housing them? How are we feeding them? Why are we doing it at the expense of American citizens? All good questions, and all a good reason, like Elon Musk said, for liberals to stay on Twitter and learn. Be part of the discussion. So anyway, folks, I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me, and it is precious. And as I caution everybody, be careful how you spend your precious time, and what you expose your mind to, what you let. Oh, who was it? I think it was Pope Pius. I'll have to see. One Pope back in the 1960s. Well, one of his quotes was that he feared that the smoke of Satan had filtered through a crack in the Vatican. Okay? Don't let the smoke of Satan infiltrate anything in your life. Don't let him take up your time. Don't let him take up your emotions. Don't let him sap your spirit. When you see a possessed, reprobate person screaming, make a note of it and move on. Don't stare at it. Don't listen to it. Don't go into details. If you hear about horrible things, keep your mind and your spirit clean and keep your thoughts clear. And don the full armor of God, light the torch of another person and another person and another person, and we're going to light up the world. And I'll be doing a broadcast tomorrow night, Lord willing, and if let's see how all these things come together. You all have a great night. I appreciate you spending your time with me. This is Mountain Man, over and out.